Thank you for tuning into my channel. We're working on the alphabet quilt today, so if you want to see how to make a letter with curves like this one, please stay tuned. I'm really excited with the progress that I'm making right now on my alphabet quilt. This is the quilt that I'm working on today, sort of. What I'm doing is just taking a few of the letters that I've designed and making a special message for a friend for a quilt that's going to be hopefully her birthday present. And so far I've made 3 of the letters. Oh, before I say that, I'll put a link to the pattern in the description box. Thank you for those of you who've already gotten the pattern. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that it works well for you. But I'm just working on a few letters in our sew along. So far, I've made an E to show an example of our straight line letters, and this one uses only squares. And then I made a Z to show that we can use the half square triangles to create some angles and some diagonal lines. And then today we're going to work on the letter B, this one here, to show how you can add curves to your letters. The interesting thing about the curves is that you use the combinations of solid squares with half square triangles to create the illusion of a curve. We're not actually sewing any curves. We're just using solid squares and half square triangles. Now, to create this block, to create this letter, on my pattern, it tells you how many solid accent squares, which is the color of your letter, how many background squares you need, and then how many half square triangle squares you need. Remember that on the pattern for the solid squares, you're only adding 1/2 inch, and then if you want to make half square triangles, you add a whole inch to each of the finished measurements. And then for the half square triangles, you need 1 of the background squares and 1 of the accent squares. So I have my accent squares for the letter B. The pattern says that I need 3 squares, and you can see this is the accent and then the background here, because I need 6 half square triangles for the block. And just as a reminder, to make the half square triangle, the first thing I did was draw a line from corner to corner on the diagonal, and then I stitched a 1/4 inch on either side of that center line. And now I'm going to cut that line, and I think my rotary cutter is on the other table. But I'm going to cut on the drawn line, and then I'll have my half square triangles. I will press them and square them up before I lay out all of my letters. So I'll finish up the half square triangles, then we'll lay this bad boy out together. I'm ready to lay out this B right now, and unlike the other letters, or unlike the Z, this one is not interchangeable top and bottom. So I have to be really careful about the diagram and making sure I put everything in the correct place. So I'm going to do it upside down, and then I'll flip it when I get ready to sew. I have my accent squares, my background squares, and my half square triangles. This is more background and accent than I need, but I just have a big stack just because I was already cutting them. Okay, so top row. And I'll speed it up so you can so that this happens quickly, but I am taking my time and making sure I do it right. So we're going to speed up the video starting now.
Subscribe.
I have the bee all laid out. I wanted to kind of show you where we gave the impression of the curve. So if you look right here, we have a half square triangle, and then the solid square, and another half square triangle. And then this fourth half square triangle does kind of give that illusion of a curve. And then you can see the same thing down at the bottom where we put the two half square triangles and then solid squares and another half square triangle. So it looks like it's curving around. And I think that's a great effect for creating these curves for these particular letters. Now from this point, I'm going to sew the blocks in rows and then sew all the rows together to create my letter. I'll do that off camera and I'll show you what it looks like. I have the finished letter here. It looks pretty good. I like the way it turned out. I have for the back, I have the seams nested as you go from row to row. You can see that the seams are going in different directions. So I hope that you've enjoyed learning how to make these different types of blocks. Of course, you can get the pattern. What did I do with my pattern? Here it is. It's called the Alphabet Quilt pattern. I'll put it up on my, it's on my Etsy site, so check the link below if you want to get this pattern. Again, it has two sizes of each letter, and you can pick and choose which letters you want to use. And if you want to make the sampler quilt, there is a piecing guide in the back for the sampler quilt. So thanks again for tuning in. Thumbs up this video, share it with your friends, subscribe if you haven't already. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment box below. Thanks again for watching. Bye!